again. Hope you're all well, having a good Sunday. Good to be back with you. First of all, can I just say, if you can hear a slight hum in the background, I've got my fan blowing on me, so that's what you can hear, so please excuse that. For some reason I've been having lots of hot flushes today, so but we've had quite a lot of interest this week on the Facebook page. We've had interest from doctors, from the medical profession, from journalists, from newspaper editors and magazine editors. I'm not quite sure what's going on, whether they're actually doing some sort of feature or they're publishing articles on menopause and they want some feedback from us. They asked me if I could have some, I could provide them with some stories or some quotes or some paragraphs on what it's actually like to be living the menopause life, basically. So instead of them actually just writing articles on what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, what we should be eating and all the rest of it, there's actually seems to be quite a lot of interest in getting information from us, so we know what it's like to be living this menopause life and sharing it, which is great, because the more information out there the better. And I think you know, especially if you're working or if you've got young children, I've often said that we should have something called menoternity leave. I think it should be a compulsory, because it is difficult living with menopause and trying to work at the same time. It's very draining, it's very wearing, and it's not like we're looking for sympathy. We just want recognition and we want respect of the fact of what we're going through. So if they're publishing articles out there, then that's great. I'm all for it. The more the better. And I think it's just really just an extension of what we do on this page, because I mean, this page now is actually the most popular menopause Facebook page in the UK. You guys have made it really, really popular. You've created a great community amongst yourselves. We've got almost 20,000 ladies on here now, and it's a great support system. And I think, you know, just knowing that you're not out there on your own suffering in silence, that there are other women, no matter how trivial it is, that are actually going through pretty much the same thing. I just think it gives you peace of mind, and sometimes it's better than medicine, just knowing. So I'll keep you updated on that. I did put a post up a couple of days ago asking for any of you that were interested in contributing to send me an email, just a paragraph of how you're feeling, how you're dealing with it. Had a great response to that, so thank you everybody who did email me. If you want to send me your story, then please do. My email is jane@phytomone.com. I will put it in the comments below, so you can email me with your thoughts on it, and I will pass it on to the various editors as well. So, and then the other thing I've been doing this week is cooking, trying to cook anyway, because when I brought out the Menopause Healthy Eating Plan a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to my editor and she thought that it would be a good idea to do just little videos to go with the recipes that are in the eating plan. So all week we've been trying to do these recipes, trying being the operative word, because I keep forgetting what I'm supposed to be doing, forgetting what I'm saying, fluffing my lines, and there's been quite a few tears and tantrums through the week for trying to get that right. And I think the outtakes are probably going to be more entertaining than the videos themselves, to be honest. So when it's all done, I'll let you know, but it is to complement the Menopause Healthy Eating Plan. So I'm not going to tell you when they're going to be ready, because I can't commit myself to that, because it really does depend on how it all goes. So anyway, hopefully it won't be too long. But this week, let's talk about bone health is what we're talking about today, and what happens to our bones, mainly post-menopause, because we're actually, from the age of 35 we start to lose bone density. That's quite normal, it's quite natural, it's a very slow process, and we don't really notice it too much. But when we reach menopause, we actually can lose up to 20% of our bone density in the first 5 to 7 years after menopause, which is quite a lot. So, and most women don't even realise that they've got weak bones, or until they do something quite simple. They may have a simple fall or twist their ankle funny, and then all of a sudden they've got a fractured bone, which can be quite a shock. So most people don't realise this. And if I can just confirm that we're talking about post-menopause here. Menopause, when you've reached menopause, you've gone 12 complete months without having a period, or 24 months if you're under 50. The years before that, you are perimenopause, you're still having your periods no matter how irregular they are. You're probably having mood swings and all the rest of the symptoms that go with menopause. You probably become a raving lunatic, or you might not have any symptoms at all, in which case, yay, hey, I'm not jealous at all. But basically, so once you've reached menopause, the very next day, you're going to be post-menopause. Now this is when your hormones are at an all-time low, you're no longer fertile, you can't get pregnant, your hormones won't increase again naturally, and you're going to be post-menopause now for the rest of your days. So that's it. So when women actually say, oh, I've finished menopause, or my menopause has ended, I think what they're talking about is their symptoms have actually calmed down. They're feeling better within themselves, so that they feel like it's ended, but they are still in the stage of post-menopause and they're living without hormones. So everybody who's perimenopause, there's hope. You know, just remember that things do get better. So if you're in perimenopause at the moment and you're struggling with it, just remember it does get better. Might be a bit of a long journey, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. But what we're talking about today is bone health in the post-menopause years of your life, specifically in the first 5 to 7 years once you've reached menopause. And this is, like I say, is when you can lose around about 20% of your bone density. So this would be a good time to actually go and have a bone density test, or a DEXA scan, I think they're called. And this is where they use low levels of radiation just to measure the strength of your bone, the health of your bone, whether there's any sign of osteoporosis, whether it's already developed. Talk to your doctor about it if you've not already had one done, because I think it will just give you that peace of mind, or will give you some insight as to the state of your bone health living without estrogen. Basically, what happens is when bone is made up of collagen, which is a protein, it's made up of calcium, it's made up of salts and other various minerals. And when we think of bone, it's like a rigid structure, and inside we've got like a very tight mesh of, it's almost like honeycomb. And when I was doing my notes for this, when I was thinking about what I was going to say to you today, I remember that in my training years ago we were studying this, and I remember we had a diagram which I've dragged out for you so you can actually see this. Now if you can see here, this is the bone, and this is like the rigid structure here, and then inside this is all the tightly knitted bone all together. It's quite close together, as you can see. Now that's a healthy bone. Now this one here is a bone that's got osteoporosis, so you can actually see the gaps in between are more defined, it's starting to break down, and the bone, it's lost bone density. So I'm not going to give you a biology lesson here, I don't want to sort of go over the top with it, but that's just basically our bone is constantly breaking down and being renewed all the while throughout the whole of our life. But what happens in post-menopause without estrogen, we have cells that break down our bone, which are called osteoclasts, and these break down our bone, and then we have cells that build up our bone, which are called osteoblasts. Now what happens without the influence of estrogen, the cells that break down the bone seem to live longer, so the bone is breaking down at a faster rate than it's being built up. So basically, in a very simplified version, this is what happens. This is why we lose bone density. This is why after menopause our bones become weak and they can be damaged quite easily. Those cells the cells that break down our bone are living longer than the cells that build it up again. So what we need to do is look at things that we can do ourselves to protect our bone health. And we're talking about exercise and diet. These are the two important things that you can look at to help yourself to have strong bones and keep them in good condition. Now for exercise, we're talking about two specific types of exercise, which are weight bearing exercises and weight resistance. Now when you're doing these types of exercises, what happens is you're building the muscle, but as the muscle gets stronger, it's actually pulling on the ligament and the ligament then pulls on the bone, and it's that action that makes the bone stronger. So the ligament is the thing that holds the muscle and the bone together. So as the muscle gets stronger, you're pulling on the ligament, and then the ligament pulls on the bone, and that strengthens the bone. So that's basically how it works. And with weight bearing exercises, we're talking about literally your legs and your feet, which bear the weight of your body. So it's things like walking, it's brisk walking, jogging, running, dancing, walking up the stairs, aerobics, Pilates, all those types of things are weight bearing exercises. And ideally you should be walking every day if you can, just a brisk walk, 10 minutes a day. And if not, then at least go up and down the stairs a few times. I think we can all do that. And then the other ones, like your dancing and your aerobics, try and do 2 or 3 times a week if you possibly can. Weight resistance exercises, these are where we're using our muscle as resistance. So basically it's weightlifting, the equipment that you use in the gym, for example. And you can also get weight little weights that you put on your wrists or on your ankles. So if you wear these while you're doing your weight bearing exercises, like you're walking or up and down the stairs, for example, then you're getting the benefit of both. So that's a good idea. And squats are another good idea, very efficient at strengthening the spine, the hips and the thigh bones. They can be quite challenging. If you're not used to doing squats, I would say Google it or talk to your exercise instructor if you have one. Find out the correct position you need to be in, the correct posture that you need to have, because you don't want to do any further damage, basically. So check out how to do them properly. I won't go into it now, otherwise it will take me off on a completely different tangent and I'll be sitting here talking to you all night. But they are quite challenging. They're not my favourite exercise at all, but you know what they say, no pain, no gain type thing. But if you've not done them before, if you're not used to doing squats, then try leaning against the wall to give you a little bit of extra support until you're used to doing them and you've built up strength, and you might find that a little bit helpful. If you've already been diagnosed with osteoporosis or some type of bone disorder, then hopefully you will have been given an exercise plan to follow already by your doctor or by your healthcare worker. It is important that you keep moving when you've got osteoporosis. So find something that you enjoy, whether it's gardening or golf or walking, something that you enjoy doing. Swimming is also a good form of an all-round exercise, and the buoyancy of the water is going to take the weight off your joints, so it won't be quite so painful. So do try and do something, even if you find it quite painful, just to try and strengthen the bones as much as you can. But obviously don't do anything too vigorous, because you don't want to aggravate the situation any further. And just while I remember, let's not forget that teeth are bone as well, and they can get the same type of effect after menopause. We can get sensitive teeth, our enamel can become quite thin, our gums can recede, so we can get more cavities. So make sure you're brushing your teeth, obviously 2 or 3 times a day. Use a mouthwash, floss your teeth, and keep up with your dental appointments. You know, have regular checks with your dentist to make sure you're on top of everything with that. The other thing is diet. Now, when we're talking about our diet, as far as bone health is concerned, we need to look at 4 things in our diet which we must have, and that's calcium, magnesium, vitamin D and vitamin K2. So those are the 4 things that we need to have in our diet to protect and strengthen our bones. Now, 98% of the calcium in our body is stored in our bones, but if we don't give the body enough calcium, it actually steals it from the bones to use in other areas, because we don't only need calcium for strong bones, it's used for other things in the body as well, including muscle contractions. And don't forget, our heart is a muscle, so if we don't have the correct amount of calcium, then it can affect the cardiac rhythm. So it is quite important that we're giving the body the correct amount of calcium that it needs on a daily basis. And also it's worth mentioning here that without the influence of estrogen, it's harder to absorb calcium as well, so it's even more important to make sure we're giving it the correct amount. The recommended RDA, recommended daily allowance for calcium, is 1500 milligrams a day. Now, your body can't absorb all of that at once. So ideally, you need to break it down throughout the day. 3 lots of 500 milligram would be great if you could do that, because if you just take it all in one meal, your body can't absorb it and it will just expel it through the kidneys, which means you're going to be deficient basically at the end of the day. So try and spread it out in your meals. Have 500 milligram of calcium in each meal. If you're taking the supplement, then maybe take some of it in the morning, some of it in late afternoon or the evening, unless it's a time release one, because if it's on time release, then obviously that will be doing its job for you. And then the other thing is, when I was just trying to remember then, we were doing a talk the other day, and I was talking to a few ladies, and I was saying to them, where does calcium come from? You know, what do you think? Where do we get our calcium from? And most of them have been led to believe, like many of us, that we get our calcium from milk, from dairy products. That's the best source of calcium. But in actual fact, technically, it's a metal. Calcium is a metal that is found in rocks. And those rocks are in the soil. And in that soil, the farmer will sow the seeds and we get our plants, and the plants absorb the calcium from the soil. And that's how we get it into our diet. And when you think about it, I mean, where do cows get their calcium from? They don't drink milk, do they? So they actually get it from the food that they eat. So they get it from the grass, which is very rich in a rich source of calcium, and they also get it from the food that they're fed from the farmers. So basically, I mean, obviously, calcium is also available in coral and seashells, but we don't eat coral and seashells. I know you can get coral calcium supplements, but you know, our best source of calcium comes from plants, basically, like dark green leafy veg, broccoli, nuts and seeds are another good source of calcium, especially sesame seeds. They're very high in calcium. Dried fish, tinned fish with the bone, you're actually getting the calcium from the bones, and some dairy products that have been fortified as well. So that's just sort of worth remembering where calcium comes from, because we are led to believe, and the dairy industry do like us to believe, that calcium, the best source of calcium is from cows or dairy products. Now, certainly drink milk if you enjoy it. I enjoy milk. I like it on my cereal. I have a glass of milk. I drink it in my tea. But just be aware that it is not the best source of calcium, and just remember where the cows get their calcium from as well. Now, there are certain foods that block calcium as well, which stop the body, can't absorb it, because it contains something called phytic acid. And this phytic acid binds with the calcium in that specific food, making it almost impossible for the body to absorb. And we're talking about things like spinach, soya beans, sweet potatoes, rhubarb is another one. So basically what you need, don't stop eating these foods, because they are very nutrient dense, so they're very good for you, but just be aware that they don't count towards your daily calcium intake. And then the other thing that we have are calcium depleters, foods which actually draw calcium from our bones, which is the last thing we need going through menopause. So caffeine and sugar cause a very acidic environment in the body, and when that happens, the body tries to rebalance it, and it does this by drawing calcium from the bones. Animal protein and dairy products, pretty much the same, cause this acidic environment. pH balance is very acidic, so the body will draw the calcium from the bones. And even though animal products and dairy products are quite rich in calcium, the overall net gain can be quite low, because although we're getting calcium from these foods, the body's actually drawing calcium from the bones to balance the pH levels, to make the acid-alkaline balance correct. So be aware of that. Alcohol destroys the osteoblasts, which are the cells that build up our bones, so it can actually prevent calcium from being absorbed as well. Salt, too much salt in the diet leaches calcium from the bones. Fizzy drinks contain something called phosphorus, which again leaches the calcium. And also the worst are caffeinated fizzy drinks, because you've got a double whammy going on there, so try and avoid those. And smoking obviously not a food, but smoking contains toxins which damage our bone health. So really look at stopping. If you do smoke, look at another reason for you to stop, basically. Now the next thing that we need, apart from calcium, is magnesium. Very important, because in order for our body to absorb calcium, it has to have comparable amounts of magnesium. Now most dairy products don't contain this, so even though they're rich in calcium, they don't have sufficient magnesium in order for the body to absorb the calcium. In actual fact, I think the body can only absorb around about 25% of the total calcium in milk and dairy products. So you need to, unless it's been fortified, I mean you do see milk and dairy products where it says fortified with magnesium or vitamin D. So you need to make sure you're getting enough magnesium in your diet as well. And magnesium you can get from pumpkin seeds, they're a good source of magnesium. You can get it from dried fruit, you can get it from bananas, from avocado, from dark chocolate, and you can also take a supplement if you want. If you don't feel like you're getting enough magnesium in your diet, take a supplement. And it can also be applied topically, which means it bypasses the digestive system, it goes straight into the bloodstream, and you get like an instant magnesium shot, basically. And we covered this a couple of weeks ago when I was doing a video on sleep, actually, because magnesium acts as a muscle relaxant, so it's very good if you've got restless legs or if you're finding it difficult to drop off to sleep at night. It can help with that. And it's like I say, it gets into the bloodstream straight away. And there's one company that they're called betteryou.com, and they do a whole range of products based on magnesium, and they do body creams, body lotions, oils, gels, and bath flakes, magnesium flakes. So check them out. If you want to use something that you put on the skin to boost your magnesium levels, have a look at their website. They do a whole range. They're all natural, but they're based around magnesium. So that's betteryou.com if you want to check them out. Now K2 is another vitamin that is very important for our bone health, and it's not a vitamin that we hear too much about. It's mainly found in meat and eggs and chicken, things like that. And what K2 does, it moves the calcium from in the body to the correct places. So it will move it into the bones or into the teeth, wherever we need it. But it also removes it from the places it shouldn't be, like in our arteries or in our soft tissue. So K2, very important in the diet. If you're following the menopause eating plan, then all of this has been taken care of for you. It's all nutritionally balanced to make sure you're getting all of the vitamins, nutrients and minerals you need during menopause, as well as helping you maintain a healthy weight and minimize the symptoms. Because you've got to remember that the generic diets that are out there, the diet of a 25-year-old woman is so different to what we need now as a menopausal woman. But I will put the link, in case you missed it last week, I will put the link to it if you want to check it out and just see what it's all about, and you'll see a short video on that. The other vitamin is vitamin D. I mean, we know vitamin D, it's the sunshine vitamin. We need the sunlight on our skin to produce vitamin D. It triggers the production of vitamin D in the body. So we need to be out, get sunlight on our skin every day for sort of around about 10-15 minutes without any sunscreen on. So try and do that every day if you can. Don't stay out any longer than 10-15 minutes, because obviously then you can get damage from the sun's rays. But do allow your skin just to get a hit of sunlight every day, because it's not found in that many foods, to be honest. It's found in eggs and oily fish and some fortified spreads as well. So it's not in too many foods, so do try and get it through the sunlight as well. And then we can look at over-the-counter products. We can, I mean, if you go into Boots or Superdrug or any chemist or pharmacy, there's a whole plethora of vitamins, mineral supplements for absolutely everything. And if you look in the section for bone health and bone care, you'll see a whole subsection of supplements there. I know Vitabiotics do one. Vitabiotics do lots of vitamins, and I know they do one called Osteocare. And I think that's a balance of magnesium, calcium and vitamin D all together. I'm not endorsing it or recommending it because I've not used it personally, but if you're interested in it, take a look at it, because you can do your own research on it, or speak to your doctor, ask your doctor about that as well. And then there's hormone replacement therapy. I think if you take HRT, then you've got the protection of estrogen and progesterone. Your levels are boosted, so you probably won't have too many menopausal symptoms while you're taking it. If you've reached menopause early, if you reach menopause before the age of 45, that's considered to be an early menopause. If you reach menopause before the age of 40, that's considered premature menopause. Now, what this means is you're living without the protection of estrogen for a lot longer than the average woman who reaches menopause at 51, 52. So it might be worth talking to your doctor about taking HRT for the first few years in your postmenopausal years, because it could give you the protection that you need, and it might just be a little bit more helpful to you. It might be help with your bone health. Talk to your doctor about it. He will advise you whether it's suitable for you or not, with your family health history, whether you can take it or not. But it might be worth considering. It might be beneficial if you've reached early menopause, just to sort of consider taking it. So that's it, basically. That's what happens to our bones. It's prevalent in the post-menopause years, the first few years post-menopause. The reason it happens is because of loss of estrogen. Without estrogen, those cells that break down our bones seem to live longer. So bone is being broken down at a greater rate than it is being repaired. That's basically, in a very simplified terms, what happens. We need to do the weight bearing and the weight resistant exercises, so the muscles pull on the ligaments pull on the bones, and it in turn strengthens the bone. We need to be eating a healthy diet which contains calcium, magnesium, vitamin D and vitamin K2, and then we've got all of the over-the-counter supplements and HRT. So do think about that. Think about it and protect your bones as soon as you can. It's up to you, it's up to us to look after our health as much as we can during menopause. And so that's it for this week, basically. Next week, what I've decided to do, because it's the last Sunday in the month next week. Can you believe we're at the end of June already? I just can't believe it. But what I thought I'd do would be like a roundup of things that I found throughout the month that have been helpful, that have made my life a little bit easier during menopause. And we'll look at all of the things, little things that have just sort of given me a bit of help with menopause. So we'll look at all of those. You might find them interesting, they might be helpful, and we'll have a run through on all of that. So that's it for this week. I will love you and leave you. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you have a good week. Hope menopause is kind to you. Hope you don't have too many hot flushes and you get plenty of sleep. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. So thanks for being with me. Bye bye for now.